Coming up, pain, death, and waiting. In the second part of Calamity, Death Mode, Rouge, and without no further delay, enjoy the video. So like usual, start out mining some cobalt, but it's not only can I mine cobalt, I can mine palladium. But this is the only ores that you can get until I kill some bosses. So I make the palladium and cobalt weapons, which were certainly weapons. Then one of them bounced even. I started trying to figure out what to make. I couldn't make anything really until I killed the first hard mode boss. But before that I headed to a new biome that had landed in my dungeon. The Astral. Full of weird space stuff and trees and meteors, which allowed me to make my first armor. I just first needed to rip some hearts out of people. The Atlas people. They drop every time, so that wasn't hard. So I made the armor. My first rogue hard mode armor. This armor was pretty cool because it allows you to gives you immunity to knockback, so that's cool. I head down and I start souls and night farming because you need them. I also wanted some ichor because I found out you can use the flasks. I also found a spear. A very slow ichor spear. And I also made the flasks of ichor, so it made that one pointless, so that's cool. I headed down to hell. Alright, sorry. I headed down to the underworld to try and kill Wall of Flesh for emblems. That didn't go well at all. Second time it did, but I didn't get the emblem. I got a keg. Killed another one, and I got every emblem other than the one I wanted, so that was cool. I threw a barrel about, killed one more. I found a spot in Hell's a Farm, sold a light, so that's what I did for a bit. I died to the Wall of Flesh somehow. And then I started farming for Essence of Elium and got a barrier, which allowed me to make the key summoning thing for the first boss. I then wasted time to try and make new wings because I couldn't make. I was trying to make ice wings, but you can't make frozen wings, until you have a hard mode handle full. So I was looking for the frost feather and it was pointless. I wasted about 2 hours of my life, so that's cool. So I was gonna probably have to use the wings I had because I couldn't make anything else. I tried it I summoned Cryogen for the first time to see how it went. It went great. I headed down to the sunken sea to grab some mollusk tusks and died to the upgraded giant clam. These mollusk husks would allow me to make a new item I needed. The Prismalite, a new weapon. And the clam killed me again. And the rage quit. I made it. It was like the crystalline, but homes outwards. So that was cool. So I took myself at the cryogen again. So to pass the time I needed to wanted to try a different weapon and started summoning the Goblin Army and got the Burning Strife, which that doesn't even work how I wanted it to. So that's cool. I fished. in the astral biome for an hour looking for another weapon. That never came. That's cool. I summoned the boss again, trying the bonus drive and finding out it's useless against him. So I just went back to old faithful. The main problem with this boss fight is I swear every time I tried to turn the rain off, it came back on causing the blizzard, so if I went too close I couldn't see. That time I just got stuck. I got decently far the next time. But this was the start of me realising that hard mode was actually going to be hard in death mode. I got quite close. I just crashed into stuff. I summoned him again. And do you think this time went better? Of course it did. So much better. Flying into a giant ice cube isn't advised. But flying into the spiky icicles isn't advised either. I got quite low but then froze to death. I tried him again. And I finally started getting the pattern down. Just some dodging and some flying with my bad wings. I was starting to choke a little bit right at the end. But thanks to Rage Bar, I just about finished the ice cube, so that's good. Now that Cryogen's dead, he makes new ores appear, as well as dropping the frozen key and all sorts of other stuff that I don't care about, other than the wings. Which the wings are cool. They make icicles, and are better. I went to try and mine the cryonic ore. You can't do it with a palladium pickaxe. So that means I've got to kill a mechanical boss. But instead I decided to go into the Hollow, spawn, destroy and die. Spawn, destroy again, get smashed in. And you'd think that using something that pierces against the destroyer would work well. No, not really. Sort of, it does. I'm just not using very strong weapons, and I'm not sure what else to use. I started using the Prismaline to destroy the probes, and then got Sliver.io'd and died. Well, I nearly died. I was just doing slow damage. The Destroyer doesn't change much in death mode, he just is stronger. But I thought I was going to have it. He definitely let me have it. And I got lasered. I made my next thing was a Cosmolite in order to change Night and Dark. And the NPC allowed me to buy a new weapon, these Ice Stars, which are cool. Which I used to try and beat Cryogen again, because, well, even though it killed me the first time, I got to the second time, because he drops all his weapons can make one rogue weapon. I also bought a 1, and I got the last thing I needed to make the Kelvin Catalyst, which this weapon is strong and probably worked and carried me for a bit. Doesn't seem like it because he has spawn protection at the start, but this weapon is quite strong against the destroyer. As you can sort of see. Not really, not yet. But yes, it slowly and steadily died to a laser. I tried it again. And went better. As you see, it can pierce multiple parts of him. And which eventually finished him off, blessing the world with Mithril and Orichalcum, which I thought would be the step to allow me to get Cryonic Ore to get the next armor set. I read some lore about trading or something or another. I got the Mithril, I got the Orichalcum, I made the Anvil. There was trouble, and there's going to be a terrible night. And Twins game, which I thought the Twins weren't going to be bad this time. Wishful thinking. They are basically the same up until you get them to half health and they start shooting 50 times many lasers and start trying to eat you, and I think that's just not good. That's very rude. And especially when you get one of them down, the second one goes into ape monkey mode and just straight up destroys me. I tried Skeletron Prime just to see how it would go, and the first attempt wasn't shaping up to be well because they had 50,000 new attacks to dodge, including lasers, missiles, or more lasers and missiles than usual, so I lasted approximately 10 seconds and died. That was fun. I then found a blown singing thing again, and I tried Leviathan and Anita, which this time this Kelvin Catalyst was actually doing quite well, and I could kill the minions, but I didn't have the damage to really do much else to him other than get hit. While I was hunting for black ink to make stuff for the infinite buffs from one of the mods, I remembered that, realised I had adamantite on me from the fishing from before. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to make a pickaxe to get Cryonic Ore, but I was able to make a new weapon, which was just an axe. It's not a great weapon, but it is a weapon. Eventually I beat it, got stuff, sold, and that made a storage system for said stuff, made an arena for the Queen Slime just so I could feel good about myself. Try to beat a boss that's easy, which he was. There's nothing much to talk about, she's just faster and that stuff and spawns stuff. Very interesting boss this game has. And got into second phase, started spitting stuff. The Kelvin Catalyst was doing great-ish. This was basically just me finding something to do so I didn't have to try and beat the twins again. But so far, Death mode and Hard mode has gotten significantly harder. Even the Queen Slime nearly finished me off. But I finished her off. Found out about Slime God's End and tried Spasmatism again. The twins, I mean, but I got close, and obviously anytime I get close to anything, I start messing up. And I... The problem was the purple fireballs that he sends out everywhere. Mix of the dashing. And kill me at 1%. And kill me at 14%. Kill me at 17%. Kill me at 20%. 9%. It could kill me a lot of times. Funny thing about this attempt is I used an item that brought you back to life and it killed me again. Died again. Several more times. Eventually I just decided Skeleton Prime would be a better bet. Try and kill it, finish it so I could get the armor. The main problem was the weapons, so I tried to deal with those accordingly. I didn't have an exact order of doing it, I just chucked the Calvin Catalyst at it. I hope I destroyed one of the ones I wanted. Skeleton Prime wasn't that hard though. I got it down to its head, and the only difference in its head phase is just some spooky, scary dance moves and starts spitting things out and dies. I don't have the footage for him dying, but he did die. I made the mithril pickaxe. I got the adamantite ore. Made the forge. And I could finally mine cryonic ore, which allows me to make the vase to make the new armor and even a new weapon, which makes projectiles come out. And I made a new thing, and I summoned it for another boss. It's not even the mechanical one. The aquatic scourge found in the sulfuric sea. A wormy boy, which this crystal piercer I got sorta likes to impale. Just doing stupid amounts of damage, going through all of them. He wasn't a difficult fight at all. It's just all about making sure the clouds don't hurt you. Unless you're an idiot like me and crash into one of them because they looked tasty. And with some expert dodging and movement from me, expert I say, Aquatic Surge guys, I read more lore about the sea and Scourge. Sell all the stuff because it's not any good. I tried to fight again, but like usual I die. Acid rain comes, so I try to find it in the acid rain. That was a great idea several times, so I just left it. I tried the twins again with this new armor and power. I tried to finish the E.T. bitey man before the shooty bang bang laser man first, but I couldn't because spasmatism just kept sticking behind. I got it to spasmatism. It was quite tense. I was dodging purple fireballs left and right, and eventually after doing some more dodging into fireballs to get away from the mouth, and I finally got through to it and died. I tried it again. This time for sure. This time I'll definitely is going to beat them. After doing some dashing and zapping and some ice starving, I got him down to the just spasmatism again. And I eventually died. But this time, this was the one I said to myself, if I didn't do this, I'd be a failure. And after getting them both down to the phase 2, taking out, doing some flying, some destroying a Veterinator and dying to fire again, I said this time would be the one. I swear. And I switched to the Prismaline because I felt like it. With adrenaline and rage pumping through me, I dodged the mechanical balls attacks. I got them both down to low health. Doing some more wacky dodge moves. Eventually, after taking down Veterinator, Spasmatism was all that was left. And died. Thank God. The jungle grew restless. I read the law to calm myself down. I realised that I opened the bag. I made the next boss summon an item without making anything new for some reason, and I summoned the Calamitous clone. Which was a great idea. Barely beat the mechanical boss and just decided Calamitous is my next best bet. And the start of a trend in this, bullet hell. One thing you need to know about me is bullet hell is something I'm not great at. But this first bullet hell section, he only took me down to half health, so that's fine. It got to half phase and then gave birth to its siblings or something. Couldn't do any damage to her. I got it down to 10%, and as I got there, another bullet hell segment with more stuff to dodge came, and since I'm useless, I just died. Tried it again though, because I thought it'd be funny. And died. Had some more. I kept on dying lots. Died again and went to get some life fruit. In the jungle. Accidentally summoned Plantera. Got a little sneak peek of what Plantera had to offer. Including a bloody machine gun. And tried a Calamitous clone again with nearly maxed out health. And I started out great. Did all those dodging. I was dodging her fine. I had got used to the normal phases. The main problem for me was the bullet hell phases because I could dodge, but fortunately the first one isn't that bad. So I only got hit twice, and that's a good thing for me. I got her down to below half. She spewed out siblings again. I just shot them dead where they stood. Focusing on Calamitous to clone again. Trying my best to do whatever that dodge was. Get complimented by the bitch. Have more babies nearby. Adrenaline the last part of it, and then the final test of skill in this one boss. The bullet hell. Would I do it? And somehow, barely-ish, I just had to deal with the insta-dashing and the 50,000 other projectiles. but in a climactic as hell finish. On last bit of health, the end Calamities die on the same frame. So that was cool. The seas was also trembling. Probably an earthquake. Read some stuff. Got a weapon that I threw stuff out. Opened the stuff. Go up and got some accessories, including a one that gives you just damage. So that's cool. I kept spamming the Cosmolite onto a solar eclipse happens, because now there was a new item to make a new armor set, thanks to it, called Solar Veil, which allowed me to make some new armor and a new weapon as well. So I just rushed through the solar eclipse, died to a Frankenstein, and I made the on-file armor. Some of it anyway. Did some contaminating, so that was fun. I beat the twins again because why not? To get some more hollowed bars. Made the full armor set. It increases damage a lot. Makes stuff do explosions. And I like explosions, me. I headed down into the Sulphur Sea. Just for a little dip. As I was now looking for cuttlefish. And the new items that the enemies dropped. The depth cells and the lumiol null. No, I'm not going to try that again. I got deeper into it, got to the second layer and died to just the backgrounds, because that was fun. I just kept going through weapons, and I got some Void Stone, which was needed for exactly one thing, being the weapon I was trying to make, one of the weapons to try and make. I got a bit too close to all the stronger enemies, including an Eidolon Worm and a Colossal Squid, so that was great. Found some cuttlefish though. Didn't drop me it for a while. Popped a Zerg potion and then got the ink bomb. So that was all great. And I made the Ballistic Poison Bomb, which is just a cool name. Does what it says on the tin. And I also made the Abyssal Mirror, which allows faster stealth generation and allows you to evade an attack, which saved me a few times. I then headed to hell, defeated another wall of flesh, still looking for that rogue emblem, which I still didn't get, and I headed to the Brimstone Crag for several reasons, including looking for an item, which I found out after too long you can just mine from the place. This Infernal Savite will allow me to make a boss summoning item for the Brimstone Elemento, also known to the community as a waifu because the world is a weird place. So I made the charred idol. I mined out the roof of the Brimstone Crag so I could fight it, and I spawned the Brimstone Elemental in, which now in death mode shoots more stuff and teleports. So that's cool, but with my weapons being ahead of where you meant to fight her, definitely helped. I have to put on a wizard outfit because I wanted to feel like a wizard. I didn't last long on the first attempt though. The second attempt I just placed more platforms and more space and spawned them in again. This time I'm just using the Prismaline because Why use stronger weapon when you can just not aim half the time? That was my logic anyway. I got her down to half health where she decides to awaken the third eye and just start shooting laser beams that shoot more stuff. Which isn't that hard to dodge, that's quite easy. And after doing dodge after dodge, and finally, after a shortest while, beat the Brimstone Elemental. Don't need anything from her, it's just a boss to fight. Find out about a civilization dying and the thing itself. Open it up. Get her to carry a item to carry around and a shell and all that good stuff. I didn't use it, but a bit of something cool. Next I wanted the totality breakers, which you make from Molotov cocktails, which I thought was going to be annoying because you needed the tavern keeper to get alcohol. I had the tavern keeper, so I made alcohol. So I bought alcohol, made the Molotov cocktails, and made the totality breaker. Take a guess what the the totality breaker does. Just fire everywhere. It's cool. I also upgraded my Terra Spark boots to Angel Treads, which make you go even faster. I decided that I could beat the Leviathan boss again with my new weapons, so I decided to try that as well. I was doing actually quite decent damage as well. And also inflicted statuses and setting them on fire also helped. But even though I got it down to half health, I died still. To the jungle next for Plantera. And I started just excavating the entire area. I still didn't have a big enough area and I had to take out all the small bits, which was the annoying part of not using bombs, but I was fine with it just so I had a good arena to fight her in. I accidentally spawned her in while I wasn't ready and got stuck on every single bit of terrain in existence, but gave me a chance to see what my damage was like. It was okay. Hers was better though. And this started the long... Once I tidied up the arena a little bit, I started trying to fight her again. Just seeing which weapon would do best. I didn't realise what weapon did best. I'm gonna even edit that out. And use the totality breakers. I died to some pink thing. I didn't realise what the best thing was. The Prismaline allowed me to keep my distance, but probably covered up half the projectiles in the entire boss fight. But did okay enough damage. There's no time limit to Plantera. You just had to dodge the machine gun, which is easier than you'd think. You just have to go in circles. The lower she gets, the more gas and spiky stuff and projectiles start coming out, so that's something to keep aware of. When you get to a second phase, it starts just shotgunning them all and then kills you. So many times. Even sending out her little things as minions to just annoy you. So if you don't have a piercing weapon, it's not going to be pretty. Just like piranhas, but made out of plants. And I died. I died so many times. I decided that I needed to make a shield to dash through her. That didn't really help. At all. I kept trying to use the totality breakers, but I ended up switching into the Kelvin catalyst again, which actually, the Rouge, the stealth strikes actually helped a lot more with piercing and all that stuff. But I ended up dying a good amount of times, like 50. I'm not sure. Plantera for me is just that one boss that always can either doom me in or be the easiest thing in the game. I was at the point where I was getting her down to nearly halfway consistently, and when I did get her down to halfway, I'd just die. Over and over again. So that was fun. I am sure you all at my death attempts. I had a lot of deaths, and even though I like to show my deaths just to show I'm nowhere near perfect, I didn't do this for every boss because, ooh, later on, the numbers of deaths start climbing. To the point that this boss's deaths in comparison seem a bit small. As you can see, a lot of my problems was just not ramming into stuff. But eventually, after somehow managing to turn the jungle into a graveyard biome without realising, I tried it again. I did the spinning. I saved my attacks for only stealth strikes because they was a lot stronger. Just kept it calm, didn't move around as much as I usually did, so I didn't have to ram into anything. Circle strategies is the best. And got it down to 7%. I was at half health. Started dashing because everything in this game wants to dash at you at 3% of health. I nearly got caught by something, but then I started ramming into stuff. But fortunately, even though she killed me, Plantera fell thanks to the Kelvin catalyst. If I used literally any other weapon, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have died. I opened the bag full of goodies, got some living shards and some stones and stuff, and with those living shards I could make another rogue weapon. I found out about villagers. I headed into the jungle to get some ectoplasm because I needed a lot of ectoplasm for stuff like cores of sunlight. I made sandstone cores that summon the great sand shark to make another weapon. This is just a mini boss in the game. It's actually quite a cool mini boss. I'm pretty sure it would probably work as a regular boss in like a smaller mod for like a pre-hard mode desert boss, because we have to have all those. So that was neat. I'd set that shark and burnt it to the ground, and I made the Sand Slasher. 2 less letters and it'll be Sand Slash. I like that Pokemon. It's used sand, and I started making materials for the Terra Disc. Stuff like the Brim Blade, Enchanted thing, Flamerang, which allow me to make the Equinity or something like that, which allows you to make the Terra Disc. It's a neat weapon. Combines boomerangs, does good damage, all that good stuff. One other thing that happens after Plantera dies is a new ore being spawned in called Perennial Ore. You can mine this, but I didn't know where you mined it. I thought it was in the jungle, couldn't find it, so I just popped a Zerg potion and just got a bunch. Also making the Mangrove Chakram, which turned out to be my preferred weapon for a while. Then I decided to fight the next boss in my head. Not Golem, but the Leviathan again. because after it killing me several times, I think I was finally ready for it. The Terror Disc was doing alright, but it wasn't long range. And the Mangrove Chakram was actually quite good for this boss, thanks to it not immediately losing, making his projectiles disappear, coming back to you fast. Since it returns to you slow, you can leave it out for a bit. I still died, but I wasn't going to let that happen again. I just decided to keep chucking the chakrams. Chuck a road strike Terror Disc to get some early damage, and just some damage in general. And as soon as I died, I realised just to use the Mangrove Chakram since I could keep my distance that way. And since when you get to the second phase, the MILF starts following you around very closely, you can hit her without even aiming. As you can see somewhat here, she was charging at me. And even though she has range stuff, she just starts trying to headbutt you, so that's not nice. But this allowed me to do damage, even if I couldn't hit her, and allowed me to do some damage to the Leviathan if she was following me. But yeah, this boss wasn't actually that bad once I got the right stuff. As it turns out, trying to beat it in pre-armor wasn't a good idea. And look at that sweet, sweet damage with adrenaline. I think this is the main reason why I even like death mode, just doing stupid amounts of damage with adrenaline. A while after, I managed to just beat the Anita part of the boss fight. Which turns out if your wife or whatever it is dies, you're probably gonna get a bit wound up. So the Leviathan starts dashing and dodging and all that stuff. But it's all stuff I definitely have handled worse before. And with one more adrenaline pumping through my veins, Leviathan was beaten. I got some stuff that I could not use, and I decided to fight him again because I wanted something from him. I believe. I just killed him because I felt like it. Leviathan again. I wanted to spawn the boss Astrum Arrayus or something like that, but I ended up spawning the wrong one. I ended up spawning Astrum Duos, which is the boss that appeared before the Moon Lord. That didn't go well. I killed a wall of flesh and I finally got a rogue emblem. And then I spawned the right thing, Astrum Arrayus, a big spider looking chap that shoots stuff. Weapon of choice being the chakram again, because they attempt to keep at the perfect distance away from you. I feel like this is one of the weapons I'd feel like I want to see using the no iframes mods. Just watching bosses melt from firing a bunch of these. He did eventually kill me because he's a very tanky boy, or girl, or Z. From how it looks, it's probably a Z. He smacked me because I assumed its gender, and then got it down a bit, started shooting stuff. Shot me dead again. This boss was more enjoyable than the rest of the bosses. I attempted him again. And in his second phase he starts spewing out UFO meteor things that want to blow you up. So that wasn't very good. Great, and then the starts wanting to sit on you. Take me out for dinner first, am I right? What's wrong with me? Anyway, it didn't like that joke. Really. But I was still alive. Barely. And the Sky didn't like that. He didn't like that. No one liked that. But just running along a platform for the first phase works and just doing some jumping and flying eventually pays off. Also, the reason why I'm not dead, I probably should mention, is because of the shield I've got, which allows you to dash through an enemy without taking damage, which is very useful for 90% of the bosses in this entire game. And it's the main reason why I'm able to do half the bosses in this entire game. But after switching to the Terra disc to see if that would do more damage, I got it low. She tried to sit on me again. I said no. She didn't like that. But eventually she understood and left me alone. Astrum Arrayus done. Found out that Drayden doesn't like her either. Opened an astral chest with an item that isn't great. And I'd forgot that I could use a temple locating thingamajig to just teleport in there. Made some basic platforms and I tried Golem. This boss likes making mundane, not at all hard bosses into menaces in the right situation. If you don't use the right weapon, which I wasn't using the right weapon. Since the problem was half my weapons didn't do good single target damage. I was just there for a while. And with how my platforms were placed, he could jump up and then make himself a problem. It was very slow going at first. I got his head off. And that started shooting laser beams, he started jumping everywhere, there was fireballs everywhere. And I've also forgot to mention, I don't know where the footage for that went, but I did make an accessory with the rogue emblem being the vampiric talisman, which gives you slightly less damage than a rogue emblem, but gives you minor lifesteal. So that's what that lifesteal is. I nearly got it down. It just killed me. Several times. This one also wanted to sit on me. And it managed to do it over and over again. But I decided to make a new weapon which I could have made a while ago, the Sandstorm in a Bottle. Dust Storm in a Bottle. Which, this weapon, even though I didn't use it properly, this weapon does some good damage. You might not be able to see it, but his arms are, fists are already dead. You just stealth strike and take half his health away. So that's quite strong. The only problem is if you have to keep quite low to him so he can spend more time in the dust storm. But other than that, he still managed to be a bit of an annoying about it. But eventually, Golem fell again, giving me the Pixar, being petitious, getting some sunlight, essence, some beetle husks, and I headed back to the dungeon for more ectoplasm. The dust storm was also really, really good at just killing stuff in the dungeon. Which after all that, I was able to mine some scoria, another type of metal, to make the hydrothermic armour, which would be my final armour set for a good while. As there was no other rogue armour sets until the Merlin Lord had been defeated. But my next thing after making that and some wings to give me some bonus damage was the Frost Moon. The Dust Storm was also good here, as well as using Zerg potions, so just tons of them spawned. There was nothing I needed from here other than maybe a better hook. But just look how fast that bar goes up. And the amount of damage per second I'm doing to these groups. This event is basically perfect for it. There's no items for me to drop. I guess while I was showing you this, I should let you know, unlike the Thorium thing, I will probably not... I won't do every boss in the game. I just... mostly because I didn't want to. I basically just did all the Calamity bosses and all that stuff. So if you're wondering why bosses like Empress of Light, Old One's Army, bosses like that don't really give me much purpose aren't here, I just didn't feel like doing it. Don't worry, there's more pain and suffering anyway. Anyway, the Frost Moon died and I sold the stuff and got some truffle worms. Next boss was Duke Fishron. Duke Fishron is basically about the same as he is in normal gameplay. In expert mode, master mode. He just does a lot more damage. Dashes about a bunch faster and spews more Sharknadoes. Also the effect of the hydrothermic armour gives you Inferno effect. Also, the fish... When the fish gets to third phase though, you can't see his health bar, so you don't know how well you're doing. And he goes into that third phase a lot sooner, so you have to dodge a lot better. Which is why I made another weapon made that Scorid Subjugation Slicer. It did do good damage. And I also made the Asgard's Valor, which stops knockback and fire blocks and all that stuff. But it didn't really stop me from dying. One thing I did do is that in Calamity, you can override the dash button with another button, so I bound it to a different button, being a special button on my mouse. And so I've got a special mouse, it's all fancy. But I got tired of dying, so I did the Martian and Blade edition. Just because I wanted to win for once. Then I started losing again against the boss, dying again and again. Some more times, and some more times. A few more times. Just a lot of death. Although from the fact you can see there's no death in this one. You might see it passing in how I show it. The Magrum Chakram is my best bet for doing consistent damage to him in his first two phases and his last phase. Since he just follow you about, still doing damage to the boss. And I was prepared for this thing, which again, the Asgard's Valor dashing capabilities came in extremely handy. If I couldn't dash up or away fast enough, I could just dash through him. It was very long time. This is, even though it was about minutes worth of gameplay, this felt about 2 hours long with how it felt. But slowly, surely, with the will of God and adrenaline and rage and all that stuff, Duke Fishron died. Dropping his lore and all that stuff. Giving me 2 Tempest Staffs. To get away from that disappointment of not getting anything useful, I did the Pumpkin Moon because I felt like it. And did the same thing again where I just burned through all the waves with the Dust Ornament in the bottle and Zerg potions. Killing pumpkins, and eventually the moon ended. Sold all the stuff for a lot of money. Decided to buy Duke Fishron bags because I didn't want to do it again. Got some wings and a decapitator. For some reason I decided to sell the wings, even though I wanted the wings for later. The decapitator was cool, it did more damage the faster it span. I headed to the jungle and got some plague canisters, which allowed me to make another weapon, the epidemic shredder, which was Nito. And I killed a queen bee, because with those plague canisters I could make plague nades, just bee nades but with the plague. I made an abomination and started fighting the plague ring Goliath, which is, to be entirely honest, one of my favourite boss fights in the Calamity Mod. Even though I struggled to fight it at first, I wasn't feeling miserable fighting it because even though we had enemies to try and dodge, it was all like fluent. It's the same reason why I like fighting Duke Fishron. It's just all smooth to fight, you don't have to do any weird stops, it was just fun. And also the dash thing came in handy as well, as he starts dashing diagonally and starts shooting missiles and stuff. He rammed me. It hurt. I summoned it again, and this is a great reason why you needed Asgard's Valor. Since the Asgard's Valor definitely helps. Also, Plague Nades do not work well against him. Eventually I died. Several times. A few more times. My main problem was that last laser shooting bit, because if you couldn't get high enough you couldn't fly over him and you just fly into him. I got him quite low several times, all around the same percentage to be honest, but I decided to make a new weapon instead, a fantasy talisman which is made from ectoplasm and some solar veil and some silk. Which was this was the missing ingredient. The problem with the epidemic shredder is that you can't aim it properly since it's not long enough range and not fast enough. This shoots it quite fast and does more damage with the spectral stuff. So that worked wonders. And literally the first try after using the fantasy talisman and some better dodging, the Plague Bringer Goliath that fell as well. Now for people that have played this mod before would think I'll try and farm it for the Malachite. I decided not to farm the Malachite because I couldn't be bothered. So I decided to take the next box on the Ravager with Plague Nades and anything else I wanted. The Ravager is another golem type enemy which just has a bunch of stuff everywhere that hurts like a thing, including nukes. There's another boss that also wants to sit on you. What's with this game and people want to sit on you? But yes, I died several times. Not as many times. I tried using the syringe that was dropped from it, but it didn't work. I got okay-ish close. The Ravager just has a lot of health. And it hurts. I summoned this creature again. and sort of understood how you was meant to fight it this time. Basically just keeping close to the ground instead of flying all over the place. In between the stuff. I'm not really showing it the best, but that's what you meant to sort of do. You meant to have a fly over it a little bit low and all that stuff. In his second phase, his head comes off and he wants to sit on you even more. I just tried to aim at whichever one was closest to me. And eventually, after shredding through its thousands of HP, the Ravager, or the Ravager flesh thing, dies, read its lore about being fused together and stuff. I consumed a thing to boost adrenaline or rage. And I next tried the lunatic cultist, because that was the next boss. Lunatic cultist is basically the same, other than that you can't stop his rituals. Every time I tried everywhere, he just wouldn't let me stop him. But I died to him, and I summoned the Astromoveus boss, which I Duos boss, at the right time this time. The Astrum Duos boss is just another worm that shoots more lasers. So what makes him this one unique? Other than being weak basically to the subduction slicer and me dying to him, he splits into two. But yes, if you can get stealth strikes on him, you do a lot of damage. But I did keep dying. I tried the lunatic cultist again just to see if that works better. I died to both of them. And then I tried this lunatic cultist again with a subduction slicer. That sort of shredded part of his health down. Every time you hit him with a stealth strike, or any strike. In terms of any lunatic cultist fight I've ever fought, is just keep in your own range and just circle him. He starts spewing some purple stuff, but it's all quite easy to dodge. But eventually, once again, one of the easier bosses in hard mode falls, and I don't have this death thing. Why? Anyway, I got his stuff and I headed up in the Stardust pillar. Which, in terms of the stats, all of these lunar events, the enemies kill you a lot better, and also drop a new material, which drops from the pillars as well, meld blobs, which can be used to make rogue stuff. I obviously wanted that, which you make into meld stuff, which can make the dark matter sheath, which makes stealth strikes only expend 50%. I mean, you can technically do 2 stealth strikes, or wait half as long. I mean, I decided to try Astrum Duos again, which it was looking quite good since I used 1 stealth strike and it took some damage when it was in its invulnerable phase, so that was cool. Astrum Duos is just all about jump, don't get hit by a worm. And in terms of rogue, just hit it with stealth strikes and just shred through him. Shred through it. Shred through every last being in him. And eventually it'll split up. Try and take out one of them as quick as you can, the same way as you tried to do the first one. With adrenaline if you can, or rage, or both. I just like showing how much damage this did to it. Let's look at that numbers. I know it's a worm and everything, but Anyway, eventually one half died. They just start shooting more these death rays. And the second one followed shortly-ish after. After just one more stealth strike, it died. Dropping fragments and metal blobs and all the stuff I needed. It was quite useful. And even gave me a homing weapon that I could use. The regular riot, that even goes for blocks. So that's neat. I made the lethal star destruction. The slow thing, which I thought was going to be quite rubbish, but is actually quite good. Shoot stuff out of it when there's enemies nearby. I also made these shards of a Pumbaa. And then I started just randomly dying, taking out a pillar, going to a pillar, dying, destroying the pillar, dying, all that stuff. The Moon Lord appeared. I chucked some bees at it. As it turns out, bees doesn't do against an elder thing. Died, got lasered. Got lasered again. And lasered. The main problem was laser. But eventually I've stopped sucking and chucked some stuff at his hands while focusing on the top one and dodging the laser. So that was cool. And there's not much more to it for a bit. Just loop-de-loops and throwing shards and flying round. Nearly dying and as a result. And aiming for the top eyeball if I can. Which eventually, the Moon Lord's core burst open. He still shot his laser beam despite having me destroy his eye. But that wasn't going to stop me from beating this tentacle special monster. I just I just kept doing whatever I could, chucking as much damage as I could, pressing the rage bar, and eventually, for the first time I've ever done in a while, I had a decent Moon Lord fight. It died, it started exploding, but when I'm far from done. The video's not even halfway done. Don't even ask how that works. But now we've got the post Moon Lord part, which you get stuff like the Celestial Onion, which gives you another accessory slot, which I just chucked a vampiric talisman on just for damage. I took that off for the Moon Lord fight. I even got the ability to chuck utensils at stuff. Now as the Moon Lord drop, I can chuck knives at people finally. Anyway, I mined the astral ore from the meteor, made astral bars, and I mined this big thing that, well, I tried to mine it, but I needed a Stardust pickaxe. And I mined all this luminite and stuff, and it was quite satisfying just to mine it while the credits were going. Anyway, I used the luminite to make the lunar kunai, the first thing. I made the elemental disc. And I even made the Imperium armor, the Rogue Celestial armor. Gave you some bonuses and stuff. Made Celestial traces, which count as wings and the boots. So I freed up another slot. I went to the desert in search of cloth to summon a sandstorm. For some reason I wanted to get a sand elemental in a bottle, and a rare one. just so I can have the waifus for one moment. Instead, just use the Moonstone Circlet and fought my first post-Moonlord boss and died. The Profane Guardians aren't exactly difficult bosses, I just found them difficult because I'm weird. The weapons were doing good. I was doing less good. Each of them doing different things, and I died a lot of times. I decided that I needed a mod of Discord. I spent about an hour, then realised I could buy it right from the wizard. Whoops. And I made the Normality Reactor Relocator, which just press a button and teleports you. Didn't save me from dying, setting on fire, dying. A lot. So many times. It's kind of getting tiring to watch it all. I think you get it. My main problem was me not being good at the game, and it had bullet hell aspects to it. But slowly I managed to take out the first one of the profane things, just leaving the commander, who just charges and shoots stuff at you. Thanks to the Discord thing, Adrenaline, I managed to shred this guy's health down while taking minimal hits. And eventually, even if it was a close call, the Profane Guardian or Guardian Commander perished. Dropping another summoning item for the next one of the next bosses. Providence. But before Providence, I had to build an arena in the jungle using spawn them in with exotic pheromones and fight the Dragon Folly. This one's quite a fast boss. It does not like it if you aren't in the jungle. And another boss where dashing is key. Obviously I died to it a good few times. He starts shooting laser beams and having pillars of laser beams that basically immediately kill you. I didn't die that many times though. Just a few more times. But eventually I actually got this one down. It was quite an enjoyable fight. The Lunakun I had minor homing, so it helped. And the Moonstone Circlet had some homing things, so damage was good. I eventually got my movement up. Even though I thought Rogue wasn't any good earlier on, I could see if you use it correctly it is effective depending on whatever weapon you're using. I did just kept getting rammed. I got it down to 20%, doing all these loop-de-loop circles and backflips and running into swords because I'm just so great at this. Dashing through the dragon and a one-horse open dragon. And eventually, another post-Moonlord boss fell. Stuff about draconic eras and impure dragon species. And I tried my first attempt at Hell the boss. The Profane Providence was difficult for me because part of the boss fight is a bullet hell. 2 parts actually, and that's what killed me first. In one of them you gotta stay within stuff or you set on fire. And I could not get the bullet hell section down, or half of it down, for a while. I did eventually get more used to the bullet hell section. just don't move as much. Also running into fire isn't good. Boss is cool though. I just wish I didn't get set myself on fire. Also the desert's not a good place to fight her. Set myself on... I got it down to 30%, then the guardians came out on her where you got to take those out first, if not you can't deal any damage because one of them heals her, one makes her take less damage, and all that stuff. She still does all the bullet hell stuff, and that's just great. I died some more times before I get into that bit. I was getting the hang of the bullet hell sections. I know it doesn't look like it, but I swear, I'm doing better. I even got shot by a laser beam. And one attempt I was doing very well. Then it turned to night and the harder mode came out. Where she's all blue and everything insta-kills you. It's like fighting the Empress of Light. I actually was doing it quite okay to say it was... It was like 20 times faster and something would insta-kill you. But obviously I didn't beat it on this attempt. I know it looked like I might beat it because I'm doing some decent dodging for once. But no, I didn't. The insta-kill laser beam didn't help. Anyway, I died some more times in the daytime version. That's all great. Laser beams and all that stuff. And you might think, why don't we use the other Discord to half this? I kept forgetting I had it. I got it down to 0% health, so I don't know how that works. That's very annoying, to be honest. I don't know why that happened. Got a bunch of stuff, including some special wings. All that type of thing. Some goodies, a new rogue weapon, which would probably be important. And also spawned a new Eula bloom, which allows you to make a new armor. More defense, more damage. Even a dodge. I also made some Terragon throwing darts. I need to fight another profane goddess because I needed the item she dropped. Which the throwing darts actually did quite good. I didn't do quite good because I'm bad at dodging, but next time it was alright. Forgot to read lore, there's some lore. And I made the final piece, gives you some health regen, more health, and even a dodge. I headed down into the dungeon for my next boss. I had Poltergeist. Now you see him. Now you don't. I beat it second time. I lost the footage somehow. Nothing, this is Plantera. But Poltergeist gives you some cool items that allows you to make Knight's Gaze and die to a squid. I then decided to use a item dropped by the profane goddess, the Runa Coast, to spawn sickness. Sickness killed me. And then I started trying to get Bloodstone, died again, and I even made another armor set this without even using the other one first. A lot. This one gave me more damage and more health regen. I then decided to do Stormweaver. Stormweaver's a funny one since she doesn't take any has 99% damage resistance unless you hit him in the tail. I sort of forgot that, so I was just assuming that I just did enough damage to his head, it would allow me to damage, but that's not the case at all. Even though the Terragon throwing darts went all the way through him, nothing came of it. But yes, the reason why I need to do these bosses is to be able to spawn another boss, which was in hell. I also died to Stormweaver. I just made the last of the Bloodstone armor, which gives you increased regen and lifesteal, so that's good. Damage and stuff. I tried Stormweaver again. Stormweaver killed me again. And I tried it again. Being able to... after tagging its tail for a bit, its armor falls off and just becomes a faster worm. I think it's quite obvious how this one ended after a bit. With a strong piercing weapon, it just half dies. Eventually I defeated the pissed off worm. Dropping some materials and love and all that good Calamity stuff. Mainly the armoured shells, which you could use to make a new weapon I never used. Shot lightning bolts. Now this next boss. I defeated the Poltergeist again, and I got a new weapon. I was going to try and use for the next boss. Which this boss, little did I know, was going to take me about too many attempts. This boss is meant to be an easy boss. It's a boss before one of the harder bosses. But no, Ceaseless Void, I could not beat for 150 attempts. I don't know why it took me 150 attempts. All it does is suck you in and just have less terrible bullet health things. It was just the floating orb face I couldn't deal. with. But no, this legit took me about over 100 and probably about 150 attempts. If you can't tell what I'm saying, here's a death montage. This is going to be the longest death montage, because even though this one it took me about 120 to 150 attempts, I decided to do it when I was in Rage for some reason. This isn't even the longest one. I don't even think I show every single attempt here. I also made some deep sea diving gear to try and get a terminus and get some upgrades by killing the Reaper Shark. They drop his teeth and a weapon. It's basically a mini boss. Beating this Reaper Shark would have made me happy after spending that many attempts. It killed me. And here's the rest of my deaths. There was even more than this, but I don't think you want to see 100 deaths. But here you go. Here's a lot of them. And finally, after he sucked his last suck, the black hole thing, after like 4 hours, died. I don't even say any different word. It really bled to death slowly. I also made a black hole with it. And next was sickness. I died to sickness a few times. But unlike the rest of them, sickness wasn't that bad. Unlike the last one, it wasn't that bad. You just have to make sure you keep an eye on the things. And not long after, so right, Devour Guts. This boss probably not bad for a lot of people. He takes the damage on his head. That's where most of the damage is. You want to take it on his head, even though his head is the most dangerous part. In the second phase, he starts doing more bullet hell stuff, and he kills you. I'm going to talk about him in a minute because I decided to go to the Acid Rain because I wanted to take out this one mini boss and the old Duke, which I was going to do, but then I got annoyed because I died there. Anyway, I made the Reality Rupturer after dying once to him, which wasn't even the main weapon to use. Then I died so many times. This boss was the boss that half broke me, and right, this boss has second phase, is cool and comes out of portal and kills you twice as hard. But this boss is the longest boss taking me to beat a boss in any game I have ever played. To the point where I had to install a mod to give me more zoom. This boss took me 5 hours and 172 attempts. I think. I don't know why. I don't know what was about it. But that bloody head and those lasers had a magnetic force put into them. But all these attempts you'll see aren't even all of them. It was just the attempts I wanted to show. I got close one or two times. But the main problem wasn't even the worm, it was just the bullet hell part. So yes, I died over and over and over again. I think this was the only boss I ever fought that I had to take a break for because it was hurting my hand how much I had to dash about. But if I got it more of it down, I just had to put it all together and beat this purple bloody wiggly worm looking mother f***ing bastard thing that took me so long that I could have got this video out about several days earlier. But no, I couldn't do that. This boss had to be in the way. It's my own fault. I know I'm not good. I wish I took a longer rest so I could have had a hand. See, that one where I got it down to 1% wasn't a fun time. But, like a fruit once said, it is impossible until it is done. And while I was using the patented slime god strategy, because as it turns out, taking any thing to make it a bit easier was very good to me. If you don't think it makes it legit, that's fine. But after a close call, which if I didn't have the Rod of Discord on at this point, I would have died. I got to low health, barely scraped past his hitbox, and if I didn't Rod of Discord there and dash there, it would have been over. But thankfully, the bastard stupid worm died. To the point I had to check if I was still recording. A bunch of text appears. I was happy, I didn't really care. I read its stupid lore. I got its the North Fleet, which is a cool reference. I just felt empty inside. But after feeling empty, I decided to go straight back to the grinding, dude. Getting the Dark Sun fragments to make an Eclipse mirror. After all these events got boosted up and made the eclipse fall, I went to the Frost Moon and got some Ender Fervic energy dropped from Everscreen and stuff, and I did the same for the Pumpkin Moon to get some Nightmare Fuel, which made a new armour out the Ruinous Souls you make with it all, the Godslayer armour, which allows you to dash, which is cool. It also made the some more traces. I defeated the Provenance in Hell, since she gives you different items while you fight her, and I made the Asgardian Aegis, the Penubia, and the Executioner Blade. I also made a Permafrost thing, I forgot where I made that, and I also made Nanotech, and I made Yaren's Egg. Yaren was probably my favourite boss of this. Not because it was easy. It was fun. The one thing I find funny about these first attempts, I should say, is that I didn't realise Yaren was a boss that you need to listen to sound cues for. I sort of took my headphones off and didn't realise I probably needed them on to hear what I was doing. So I then died a few times to him dashing. I did die to him a lot more than what I'm showing, about 70 times, but I was happy fighting him. The main problem was just dashing through his dashes or dashing away. And not leaving the Infernado, since if you leave the zone he's made, he'll enrage and kill you. But I got him down to half health, where the banging music comes on. Jesus Christ, DM dokuro. I don't know if you're singing this or what, but this music is... That's play. I've put on the background since I'm pushing about everywhere. Banging. I also died a few more times. I also don't know what happened there. But yes, unlike the Devourer Gods, which was making my hands hurt because I was holding myself tense for some reason, this one I was fine, I was enjoying it, even though I died 7 times and dropped 6 back. And died about 1% health. Twice. This is the boss I want to just have play for you in full length. One thing I did forget to mention is that I don't know where the footage for I made it was, but I made this weapon, the God's Paranoia, very good against him. So I'm going to leave you to this boss fight. gets you a few things, including bits of his soul somehow, and a weapon I didn't get, and also a long thing. I made the Blossom pickaxe to start mining Auric Tesla. If you don't know, this is the final mineable ore, and if you touch this ore, it will beat you up. I also made a fruit to give me max health, I think. I made the Auric Tesla bars with soul. I made the Auric Tesla armor for Rogue, which you need a magic carpet for some reason, but it gives you all the set bonuses of the effects of the other ones. I've made a Seraphim out of other weapons. That's quite a good weapon for what we are coming up against next. I need to beat another Yavin though, because he drops. I need more Auric Tesla to make a pan. And now it's time for a long thing. I don't have all the footage, but I had to make a bunch of power cells to do some unencrypting from all these labs. Each of these labs has an encrypted thing to make a part for this unencryptor to be able to contact this Drayden. And had some logs about the wildlife and stuff. This took a while because the batteries print so slow on these battery prints of things. You need like 5,000. But I got every single one. I went to all the encrypted places. I got stuff. I left my game open for about 3 hours, waiting for the power cell to come out. I got the Wrath wing from Yavin. Encrypted some more stuff. And once the final encryption was made, you could contact Drayden. He will then ask you to choose a boss out of 3. At this first time I chose Artemis and Apollo, basically the twins, but a lot worse. I did not last very long. Basically how this works is you choose one of these 3 bosses. They will be by themselves at the start. Once you do enough damage, the other 2 will come, including Ares, and you have to fight them both at the same time until you do enough damage to one, and you have to fight that one at low health until it killed me. It's a very cool thing. I decided that using the Seraphim against Ares first would be the best bet because Ares had the most annoying weapons. But this one took me a while too because I died a bunch of times. I kept switching between several weapons: Seraphim, Burning Sky, which I forgot eventually even got because I forgot about it as well. I used Pans, the Final Dawn, which works for Ares. It just lobs you at it, but that's the point. I died a lot of times. Switching up my thing, switching up accessories, all that mumbo jumbo. Dying some more. Once you get one of them to low health, they go into a second phase In terms of Ares, he does a pretty magic merry-go-round of death. The others will be seen soon enough. And if you leave that merry-go-round of death, so if you're wondering, it makes Ares angry. And just does it again anyway. I then decided I need to blow up an area specifically fighting Ares. In that thing. So I went a bit overboard and blasted a hole in the Crimson since I didn't need the Crimson for anything. And it did work for Ares for a bit, but I didn't really make it perfect at all. Once smoothed out. When you fight Artemis, one thing I forgot to mention is when you do enough damage to the two of them, all three start fighting you, but a bit easier since there's 3 of them. There's still like 50,000 projectiles, which I found the best way to do this is just to go at an angle. So that's cool. Doing the merry-go-round is hard because you can't fall fast enough a lot of the time. So yes. This one didn't kill me as many times as the Devour Gods. Eventually I managed to defeat Ares, which makes the other one spawn, and if you get one of those ones low, the other one will just leave you alone. In the case of Artemis and Apollo, they just turn into laser shooting monster robots. So that's cool. And in the case of, they swap around a few times and each has a special attack that you need to be wary of. In the case of Artemis side, Apollo, I didn't realise that this laser. I could have dodged it if I knew. Then Thanatos, by himself, just spams so many things. Then if he gets a lock on you, just shoots that bloody missile. But yes, even though we know everything about them, and zooming out of it, died quite a lot. I even used the Slime God strategy, which I'm not proud of, but I was kind of getting tired of my being put into a glass coffin and becoming a lightning rod. That didn't really help. I did try using accessories, but I did get in a good attempt. And if you want to see this entire attempt, there you go. If not, skip to the time on the screen to see me talk again. But to give you the basics before I go, I did use recalls to get away from some of the attacks I didn't think I could dodge. Just so you know. Drayden gave me a speech. I sort of rated a little bit by firing deadly knives into the sky. I've read stuff about the mechs and his resources are infinite or something. I made Drayden's Forge. Made the Celestis out some miracle matter you can make with a bunch of stuff. Made the Supernova. These are the endgame of endgame weapons. And then I made the final summoning thing and took my first attempts against the Supreme Witch Calamity, which thanks to a drop from the Exo chair, the chair helps with the movement around the objects. The first phase is meant to be easy because you're just meant to destroy these hearts while dodging the air climbing worm. Then it's just you and her throwing down while you dodge stuff. As you saw at the beginning, you're stuck in a box while doing bullet hell things. This boss took me a bit because of those bullet hell things, but it didn't take me. I ended up dying with her at 60% without even doing any damage to her. I got to the point where her actual family came out, which is just one slice as one punches. You gotta like perfectly fly around them. I did actually eventually beat one, but the other one sliced me in half, so that's nice. And I died a good few times, but I did get deep quite far. Just the last thing to go when I died several times. Even at the 10% mark was the thing, but even those many attempts, I did get it down, and here is the result of that. I hope you enjoy the fight. So yeah, I never actually beat the boss rush. I nearly did, but that's where I'd like to end this anyway. Seems perfect somehow. But yes, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, like it, subscribe it. But yeah, see you in the next one. Bye. So yeah, I never actually beat the boss rush. I nearly did, but that's where I'd like to end it anyway. It seems perfect somehow. But yes, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, like it, subscribe it. So yeah, see you in the next one. Bye.